Good afternoon, football fans. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. We are 1 week removed from the opening of free agency. 1 week removed from the chaos, the tampering, the shock. Over the weekend, we had another couple quarterbacks move around. We had a team basically steal a quarterback from another team. And we have what looks to be, truthfully, the NFL draft kind of shaping up in front of us. But the biggest question that most have on their mind is, who's left? If you're a Colts fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Falcons fan, if you're a Rams fan, who's left? Who is still out there for you to be able to get? The reality is, I got the answer. I got the answer. And we're going to go through the entire list of all the position players that are available. Got the defensive line, defensive end, linebacker and corner, safety. I got everybody. We are going to go through the prominent free agents that are left to help your team improve. The reality is we are into the B tier and C tier free agents. A lot of these guys are going to have injury issues, which means their contracts will be cheap with incentives. So there's very little risk and a lot of reward when potentially signing these players. But first off, let's cover something big that took place. Over the weekend, I believe it was Friday, Aaron Donald retired from the NFL. That is a big blow to the Rams, but also to the NFL. Played on the same team his whole career. Won a Super Bowl in his career. The most dominating defensive lineman I've seen in my adult life. Von Miller was good. Von Miller never got triple teamed. DeMarcus Ware was good. Peppers was good. Reggie White was good. Reggie White was at the beginning of my time watching football, as was Warren Sapp. I remember Dwight Freeney. He only double teamed him. He didn't triple team him. Aaron Donald legitimately got triple teamed in the Detroit Lion game. If you're going to get triple teamed and not be able to move off of the line of scrimmage, What fun is there in football for you? I've seen a lot of people go, and he retired too early. Why is he retiring? Listen, this isn't a Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson scenario. The Rams did not treat him bad. He won a Super Bowl. He's got a life. He's a defensive lineman. And a dang good looking one. So I'm going to choose to be happy for the fact that he set himself up, that he is able to make this move, because that in and of itself is an accomplishment. And I'm going to leave it at that. Also on Sunday, Leighton Vander Esch, who had just been released by the Cowboys, retired as well, stating that his body just wouldn't cooperate anymore. He couldn't get his body to do what he needed it to do. And that's unfortunate because he was very good. Very good linebacker. So to me, that is a very unfortunate thing to have taken place. Vander Esch retires, Aaron Donald retires, and then we have the trade news from the weekend. Trade news is the Pittsburgh Steelers basically stole Justin Fields. And I do mean stole. I don't know how you claim it as anything else. They stole him. It's a future, not this year, next year, conditional pick. Like, are you kidding me? I love the move for the Steelers. If anything happens to Russell Wilson, you have Justin Fields behind. There are a lot of people that are saying Russell Wilson is for this year, and Justin Fields is the future for Pittsburgh. It very well could be. He is one of the top two places I thought he would end up. So it still ended up happening. Just a little bit differently than what I thought. And now we come to a Monday afternoon. Things are winding down. Teams are trying to figure out where they need to be able to improve, what they need to do. And at this point, looking for the value that is still sitting on the market. So here we go. Some of the quarterbacks that are still left on the free agent market. Ryan Tannehill, Josh Dobbs, Carson Wentz, Blaine Gabbert, PJ Walker. There's more. There is more. But those are just some of the ones that everybody would know. Okay. Now, receiver, this is interesting. Now, this list came out on Friday, so any signings over the weekend are not taken off of this list. Like in the receiver section, KJ Osborne, who signed with the Patriots on Monday, is still sitting on this list as a free agent. He is not. He signed his deal with the New England Patriots. So this is Friday's list. So if somebody has already been signed, give it a little bit of grace. This was Friday afternoon, the end of the week. Basically the tally sheet of who was left. Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, Mike Thomas, Michael Gallup, Corey Davis, Odell Beckham, DJ Chark, Hunter Renfrow, Julio Jones. There's actually quite a few C-tier receivers left, but the wide receiver draft is so deep. People don't need to take a chance on them unless you're looking for an impact player. Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, Mike Thomas. Look for them to get heavily incentive-laden deals. But look for Michael Gallup. So the story came out that the Texans actually offered more than the Bears did for Keenan Allen. But the Chargers did not want to trade him to the AFC. First of all, thank you. As a Colts fan, that would have just basically staked my heart that they would make a trade for Keenan Allen after all the moves that they've done this offseason. I would have been sad. We're just going to go with sad. Probably upset. Probably outrageously infuriated. But for now, we're just going to go with sad. But look for them to sign Michael Gallup. They could go draft for another receiver. But there's some veterans that I think would really help the wide receiver room still sitting out there. All right, running backs. Alexander Mattison, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kareem Hunt, Cam Akers, Ezekiel Elliott, and actually a good couple more. Jerick McKinnon, Cordero Patterson, who I think eventually re-signs with the Falcons anyway. I don't think they want him to leave that running back room. And I don't think they want to lose his dynamic playability in that offense. I think that'd be very important. But the running back list has really shrunk down. This year, the running backs got helped by one thing, and do not misunderstand this. They got helped by one thing. This running back class isn't good. Now, I like Carson Steele from UCLA. I like Will Shipley from Clemson. I really do. But there's no guaranteed everyday starter, really, that you look at and you go, yeah, that's a 1,200-yard rusher right there. Carson Steele, I think, is a very interesting pick. Whoever drafts him is going to get a Mike Alstott type of player. And I think he's going to do really good. Will Shipley is a lot like Darren Sproles. In the NFL offenses today, I think he's going to do fantastic. But not necessarily just as a running back. So the running back market had some names in it. And people switch stuff around. Like Cincinnati, I'm sorry, you got cheaper, you didn't get better. Zach Moss is not the back you want leading your backfield. And Cincinnati will find that out. Joe Mixon now with the Houston Texans is with C.J. Stroud. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, he was with Joe Burrow. Yeah. C.J. Stroud really doesn't play around. C.J. Stroud is really willing to dump it off. This is going to be really good. All right, your offensive linemen. We still have quite a few offensive tackles that are in the B plus range. Charles Leno Jr., Trent Brown, Cameron Fleming, Josh Jones. He's more of a B minus C tier. Andrus Peat, Donovan Smith, DJ Humphries. A guy that I feel bad for, Andre Dillard, really just had a horrible year in Tennessee. Gets cut, Tennessee saves cap. He just struggled that bad. I mean, it was that bad. It really was. The even more interesting thing is you've got 3 guys on this list, and they're all back to back to back. From the Jets offensive line last year, Mekhi Becton, Dwayne Brown, and Chuma Edoga. I'm sorry, Billy Turner, Mekhi Becton, and Dwayne Brown. All are free agents, formerly from the Jets. Guards, we still got a couple of guards that can play here, guys. If your team needs offensive line help, we still got guards that can play. We got Kevin Zeitler, Greg Van Roten, Dalton Risner, Mark Lewinsky, Riley Reiff, Lawton Tomlinson, Gabe Jackson, Cody Whitehair. He's one that I really think needs an incentive-laden deal. And honestly, I wish the Colts would do it. Experience. He's had problems with injuries. Okay. The experience, being able to be center, guard, being able to be a help to a young offensive line. I really think Cody Whitehair is going to be a amazing pickup for somebody. And another notable one, Trey Turner from New Orleans. There's still guard help. There is still guard help. Do not lose hope. There is still guard help. There's really not many centers, honestly. Um, Connor Williams, Connor McGowan, Tyler Larson, Brian Allen. Really, that's all you got right there. Really, that's all you got right there. All right. So, big question that's popped up on Twitter, X, whatever it's going to be called forever. What will the Rams do to replace Aaron Donald? Because you have to. And that is true. My simple answer is they are the team that's going to take Jazair Newton out of Illinois. They are the team that will take him. They are the team that will take him in the first round. They will take him, be very happy with it, and build their defensive line back up that way. Because they can. But let's say they were looking for help from the outside. They could sign Calais Campbell to a one-year deal. They could sign, I don't know, Austin Johnson, Sheldon Day, Tyson Alua, William Golston, Jaleel Johnson, Dean Lowry. You're really into mostly C-tier interior linemen at this point. Which is why I would absolutely draft Newton. And honestly, they may draft Newton and a edge rusher. But let's say they don't. Let's say they want to sign an edge rusher. If your team needs an edge rusher, you still have Jadeveon Clowney, Chase Young, Kyle Van Noy, Mike Dana, Derek Barnett, Bud Dupree, Marcus Golden, Jerry Hughes, Justin Houston, Yannick Ngakoue, and Emmanuel Ogbah. Listen, there are a couple players that you could play in there. Chase Young, I think, needs a fit. I thought he fit with San Francisco. They can't re-sign him. They don't look like they're too worried about it either. With the moves that they've made. Look for an under-the-radar team to go get Chase Young. Look for a team like Miami. Look for a team like the Chargers or the Broncos. Look for a team like Jacksonville to be the ones that get Chase Young. I don't think they're going to get the 15 sack a year defensive end that we know. But I think they could get the 8 to 10 sack Chase Young that you want on your team, that can be disruptive, that can be there. That's what you want. All right, what if your team needs a linebacker? The linebacker draft isn't great. There are a couple, Dallas Turner, Barrett Cooper, Junior Colson. We got two of them out of, two linebackers that are really good out of Georgia. We got a couple. Lolu from UCLA, which thankfully, because the Texans traded their pick, the Texans are now not going to get Lolu, which makes me really happy. But they also made such a great move in that trade that they put themselves in the position to be able to, I mean, they showed that they understood this draft. There are players, and I will say this for a long time. We got 5 weeks to the draft. There are players that will be drafted in the 3rd round this year that if in the 2025 draft would be middle to end of the 1st round. That's how deep the pool is this year. That's how deep the talent is. So when we look at linebackers right now, we got some guys that can play. You just got to get them for the right price. Zach Cunningham, Shaquille Leonard, Quan Alexander, Deion Jones, Isaiah Simmons, Anthony Barr. Okay? There's players. There is players. You've got depth that you can get in the linebacking core through free agency right now. You can get depth through free agency. All right, what if your team needs a corner? Well, Steven Nelson, Stephon Gilmore, Tre'Davious White, Xavier Howard, Patrick Peterson, they're all still there. So is Shaquille Griffin, Fabian Moreau, Eli Apple, Adoree Jackson. You still got plenty of players. Plenty of players in the secondary. The secondary has, you don't have to pay these guys a ton. You really don't. Take Houston. They revamped their entire secondary. And it's looking good. The Lions traded for Carlton Davis. The Buccaneers need secondary help. Bingo draft, but you got options. What I'm afraid of happening right now is a lot of these guys wait around, and then week 8 they sign with a contending team. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But if nobody's going to pursue them the way they want to, or the way that they should, they're just going to sit there on the market, collecting dust. And if you're a safety right now, I know you got to be wondering what's happening. Julian Blackmon, injury issues. Justin Simmons, I'm sorry. I don't know how he isn't signed yet. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Tajon Gibson, Kayvon Wallace, Quandre Diggs, Rudy Ford, Micah Hyde, Marcus May, Kareem Jackson, Eddie Jackson, Jamal Adams, Tracy Walker, the longtime vet, Keanu Neal. Listen, the safety realm, there's plenty of players that can play. Plenty of players that can play. Oh my gosh. All right. There are a couple teams that still need a kicker. The notable kickers that are still available: Brett Meyer, Randy Bullock, Joey Sly, and Greg Joseph. Those are the four kickers, notable kickers that are currently still available. And guys, that's the list. That is the list of who is left. So your team still has help. Your team still has help. And they can go get it in free agency. They can go get it in the draft. But I know most all of us are just hoping that they do it. Colts fans, the ones of us that understand you don't win with the same team over and over and over again, we're frustrated. Because nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And there's multiple players that can just help. Just help. So the teams that are aggressive, teams that are going after players, the Texans have been very aggressive. The Patriots have been kind of aggressive. The Washington Commanders have been outrageously aggressive. And when you're a fan of a team that hasn't been, now the Cowboys are strapped for cash. I mean, let me laugh for a second. They restructured Dak's deal today and saved $5 million. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? It's there are some teams that are just strapped and can't do much. But teams that find a way to do it. Now, I said this, I believe it was last week. The Texans are not the new expectation. We do not expect, from some do. The Washington Commanders have pieces. The Texans were a mess. The Washington Commanders have always had pieces. They got two really good defensive tackles. They got really good skill position players. It's what they have. So my feeling is Washington will be the Houston this year. But it's because they already had things set up. New England and Chicago. Now, Chicago has pieces as well. Remember, Chicago only has this pick because of Carolina. Chicago now with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. This team should be better. And if Caleb Williams is half the quarterback the teams think that he is, the Bears should win football games. I don't like Caleb Williams. But he's got so many weapons. If he fails, it's his fault. And if he fails year one, it's his fault. Very much so. So, at this point, the aggressive teams basically have changed their fortunes or continue to be one of the best teams. It honestly looks like Minnesota is going to try to trade up to number 4 with the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know how you do that as a Cardinals fan. You're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. You're going to pass that up? I don't. So then you call the Chargers. And you find out how in love the Chargers are with Brock Bowers, which honestly probably will not be that much. Just the reality, probably won't be that much. But the Vikings are setting themselves up to be able to make the trade to get into the top, let's say top 8. But I think based off of the pick that they received, they are basically looking at trying to get into the top 5. And we know the top 3 aren't moving. So that basically leaves Arizona, the Chargers, and then the Giants at 6. That's really what it leaves. Now, in closing, let's wrap this up. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I wanted to go over, because I saw it online, and I figured you guys may want to know how this works. So, how does the money work for retiring players? How does the cap work with retirement? Um, So, mainly because of Aaron Donald. Yes, the Rams have cap room. The Rams get a lot of cap room. The Rams are not going to ask for the signing bonus back. They can. Um, but any bonus that is not paid out doesn't have to be paid out to Aaron Donald at this point. Now, Jim Irsay paid out Andrew Luck's contract. Sorry, never should have. He wasn't a savior for Indianapolis. He wasn't that great of a professional for Indianapolis. So he shouldn't have done that, but Irsay was being nice. It's what he does. So basically, they save cap, but it's as if they were a post June 1st cut. So after the draft and after everything cycles, they will get all that cap money back, which, for those that are still sitting on that free agent wire, then the Rams will be able to go and sign. So it's not necessarily immediate, but it does help them when it comes to cap. And they are aware of this. Leighton Vander Esch retired after being cut. If David Bakhtiari retires, he's already been cut from the Green Bay Packers. So both of them have nothing that's going to be coming to them at all because they were already cut. Aaron Donald retiring with his contract still left saves them money, but is treated financially as a post June 1st release. They will get the money. The cap will open up. It just has to recalculate after all the rookie deals come through. That is it. That is it. So there's, excuse me. So there's that little tidbit for you. That's the best of who's left, guys. That is the best of who's left. Your team can still get help. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Your team can still get help. There is still help out there in multiple areas. And the longer they sit on there, potentially the better deal you can get. Maybe. The reality is I'm not stretching it too much. If I'm going to do an incentive-laden deal, I'm getting them signed now. I'm bringing them in on an incentive deal. Why do I have to wait? Bring them in, get them in, let's go. So as we get to week 2 of free agency, things are definitely winding down, not as much news. This is where all the trading, this is where all the little pickups for everything matter. And why do they matter? Because it's what we got now. This is what we have left. Guys are going to make trades. Guys are going to do things. And they're going to do them in a flurry type fashion to be able to beat the rest of the teams. And that's exactly what you got to do. You got to beat everybody else to the B tier free agents. And you got to fill out your team with role players. And some teams just choose to wait until basically after the draft, after everything recycles through for the salary cap, which isn't bad. Just we as fans don't prefer it. And that's all. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for so much for being here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button, ring that notification bell. I do apologize. I am dealing with the weather here in Indiana. I have made it all the way through the winter. I made it all the way to the middle of March. But finally got, the weather caught me finally. The up and down, and I am clogged up, sinus pressure and everything else. So I apologize for that, but guys, football is more important. Football is more important. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Until next time, this is Sports Talk with Hawk. I'm Hawk, and I'm out.